Been killed in Bondi beach terror attack. Park father-son duo named as shooters. Shooters on cops' radar for 6 years. Hero who wrestled the gun from the shooter. Who were the innocent victims of this attack?
Hello, you're watching Xplained by NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and in this episode we will talk about the Bondi terror attack, the shooters, the victims, and a lot more. Let's dive in. An attack by a father and a son on a Jewish Hanukkah celebration at Sydney's Bondi beach killed 16 people, plunging Australia into a day of mourning. The shooting took place during an annual event to celebrate Hanukkah, which police said was attended by around 1,000 people. Police also said that the attackers fired into the crowds, killing 16 people aged from 10 to 87. It was the deadliest shooting in Australia in almost 3 decades in a country with strict gun control laws. 42 people were hospitalized overnight, including 5 in critical condition. Among them are 2 police officers wounded in a shootout with the gunmen. Now, what do we know about the shooters? Well, the alleged gunmen behind the Bondi beach attack are a father and son duo suspected of using illegally obtained firearms to commit the massacre. The son is an Australian-born citizen, while the father arrived in 1998 on a student visa, which was transferred in 2001 to a partner visa and later resident return visa. Naveed Akram, 24, was arrested at the scene and taken to a Sydney hospital with critical injuries. His 50-year-old father, who the Sydney Morning Herald first reported to be Sajid Akram, was shot dead by the police. According to investigators, Sajid Akram owned a fruit shop while his son had been laid off from his bricklaying job around 2 months back after the company became insolvent. The police said that Sajid had held a gun license for around 10 years. The son was known to New South Wales police and security agencies, while his father had a firearms license with 6 weapons registered to him. According to the police, all 6 firearms have been recovered. 4 of these weapons, long arms believed to include a rifle and shotgun, were seized at the scene in Bondi, with other weapons also found during a police raid at a house in Campsie in Sydney southwest. Further, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that the attackers were deliberately targeting the Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah. Naveed Akram, who worked as a bricklayer, came under the attention of the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation in October 2019. According to the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, he was examined for 6 months because of his alleged association with others. And as per reports, the counter-terror investigation involved an Islamic State cell. Naveed Akram was examined on the basis of being associated with others, and the assessment was made that there were no indication of any ongoing threat or threat of him engaging in violence. The NSW Police Commissioner Mal Lanyon said that the 2 men had lived at another house in Bondi in the city's west, which was also raided on Sunday night. He said there was nothing to indicate that either of them were involved in yesterday's attack, was planning the attack, and confirmed the older man had held a gun license for a decade. Australia's National Cabinet has agreed to tighten gun laws, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said after a meeting today. As an immediate priority, the government will move to expand restrictions on the import of weapons and weapons-related equipment, including those linked to 3D printing. The proposed measure includes limiting firearm ownership to Australian citizens, allowing greater use of criminal intelligence in licensing decisions, fast-tracking the National Firearms Register, capping the number of guns an individual can own, and restricting open-ended licenses as well as the types of firearms and modifications that are permitted. Sajid had held a Category AB firearm license. This is a license which requires a person to demonstrate to police they have a special need for certain weapons, which can include muzzle-loading firearms, center-fire rifles, and shotgun center-fire rifle combinations. Until recently, Naveed Akram had been working as a bricklayer. The man who employed him said he took him as an apprentice 6 years ago, describing him as a hard worker who never had time off. But a couple of months ago, he said Naveed reported that he'd broken his wrist while boxing and would not be able to work again until 2026. His previous employer revealed that he asked for all his entitlements paid up and will leave and everything. But a lot of guys do that at the end of year anyway. He did not know Naveed well, saying he had employed dozens of people at the same time, but he was considered a quiet person. He said he knew Naveed came from a Muslim background, but Naveed did not speak much about religion and work. He said some employees had told him that Naveed's parents had separated and he was close to his father. He also disputed claims that Naveed had lost his job, saying that he had wanted him to return to work despite his wrist injury. Another bricklayer described Naveed as a strange colleague but a hard worker who had an interest in hunting. Although authorities have not said that the son was a licensed firearms holder, the colleague claimed he hunted regularly and spoke about shooting rabbits and other game around Crookwell in the state's southern tablelands. They worked across Sydney, with the last job in which he saw Naveed on a site in Penrith. A hero bystander who was filmed wresting a gun from one of the Bondi Beach attackers has been named as 43-year-old Ahmed Al Ahmed. Ahmed, the fruit shop owner and a father of two, remains in the hospital, where he has undergone surgery for bullet wounds to his arm and hand. The footage of Ahmed's intervention has been shared widely online. It shows one of the gunmen standing behind a palm tree near a small pedestrian bridge, aiming and shooting his gun towards a target out of sight. Ahmed, who was hiding behind a parked car, is seen leaping out at the attacker, whom he tackles. He manages to wrestle the gun from the attacker, pushes him to the ground and points the gun towards him. The attacker begins to retreat back to the bridge. Ahmed then lowers the weapon and raises one hand in the air, appearing to show police he was not one of the shooters. The same attacker is later seen on the bridge, picking up another weapon and firing again. Another gunman also continues firing from the bridge. It is unclear who or what they are aiming at. Now, who are the Bondi Beach shooting victims? A 10-year-old girl was among the 15 people killed in the shooting, according to New South Wales police. 2 rabbis and a Holocaust survivor were also killed. The ages of the victim ranges from 10 to 87 years old. No further details have been provided. The family of British-born Rabbi Eli Schlanger, 41, has told that he is among the dead. Schlanger's cousin, Rabbi Zalman Lewis, described him as vivacious, energetic, full of life, and a very warm, outgoing person who loved to help people. Rabbi Yaakov Leviton's death was confirmed by a Jewish organization in Shabbat, who described him as a popular coordinator of its activities in Sydney. Alexander Klitman, a Holocaust survivor, was killed while trying to shield his wife, the Jewish organization confirmed. Israeli media, citing the country's foreign ministry, reported that an Israeli citizen was also killed. French citizen Dan Elkayam has also been identified as a victim of the attack. In a tribute shared on X, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said he mourned with Elkayam's family and loved ones, the Jewish community and bereaved Australians. The attack sparked condemnation on worldwide, led by Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who described it as an act of pure evil. US President Donald Trump said it was a purely anti-Semitic attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused Australia's government of pouring oil on the fire of anti-Semitism by not acting strongly enough before the shooting. Israeli President Isaac Herzog called the shooting a very cruel attack on Jews, while King Charles, who is head of state in Commonwealth nations, said he was appalled and saddened by the most dreadful anti-Semitic terrorist attack. The Bondi Beach is almost unrecognizable. The sun is out, but the surf is empty. The usually heaving main street is hushed. That is the overriding sentiment. This is shocking for such a safe country and yet predictable for one that has been grappling with rising anti-Semitism.
15 killed in Bondi Beach terror attack. Park father-son duo named as shooters. Shooters on cops' radar for 6 years. Hero who wrestled the gun from the shooter. Who were the innocent victims of this attack?